Okay, so this is going to be a tutorial on how to use one of the TCL library databases. This database is called Opposing Viewpoints. It should be very helpful as you begin to research and develop your final research project because you need to know both sides of an issue and understand your audience's reasons for disagreeing with you. So you're going to go to the TCL website, and then once you're there, you're going to click on Library. And then once you're at the library, you're going to click on Find Articles, Databases. Once you click on that, you can go up and click on the O in this alphabetical list, and then click on Opposing Viewpoints in Context. Now, once you're in the Opposing Viewpoints site, I'm going to talk about several ways you can search this site. So, one of the ways is to just sort of scan this group of general categories here that are kind of more current topics. So, for example, one of the things that you did for your critical analysis essay was social media, which you would find a lot of arguments, a lot of opinions about issues related with social media. One of the topics that is on the list for the English 101 final research paper is minimum wage. So you could just simply click on that, and you'll notice here that you have what are called featured viewpoints, which are articles that look at either side of the issue, those who are for minimum wage, those who are against increasing the minimum wage. There's 6 articles there. These would all be valid sources for this paper. This one is called Viewpoints, which you'll notice this one says the minimum wage laws are immoral and harmful, which would be against raising the minimum wage. This one would be raising the minimum wage will help the poor. And you'll notice there's 43 of these, so you could just click on, if you wanted to look at all 43, and then that has got all of the essays there, and you can scan through there and see if those might be something that you would be interested in. Another way that you can search opposing viewpoints is just a simple search like you would do for Google or any other search engine you'd use. So, for example, one of the topics is organ donations. We could type in organ donation here. And one of the things you'll notice, there's this kind of drop down menu here that gives some other ways to look at this. I don't really see anything there that's with the topic, but I might. So, what I could do is just do a search then of organ donation, and you'll notice that these are many articles. So, these might be related to what you want to do in that paper. You'll also notice here that you have viewpoints. You could take a look at those. There's academic journals. I would suggest maybe not kind of focusing on the academic journals so much because they're for professionals in the field, so the language is a lot tougher. I think that viewpoints would be fine. Here's statistics. I think statistics are great for these kind of papers. So, for example, the rate of eligible donors is increasing, which would have something to do with that notion of if you don't sign up to be a donor, then you don't get an organ. Here's some other things. There's audio. There's newspaper articles, which you could look at. There's images. There's even videos. There's magazines. Those would be okay. There's websites. So the nice thing about opposing viewpoints is there's all kinds of different sources on this page. You don't have to really go searching around too much. Over here on this side, you also have this same kind of list here, which tells you how many sources there are. Another thing you can do is there's a button here that says, or a link here that says Browse Issues. This is a very, very, very um, long list, and sometimes this kind of helps you just before you decide on a topic to maybe do a quick search to see what is out there that might be interesting or might be related to your topic. So I'm going to go back up here for a minute because one of the topics is, I believe, that should a teenage girl have parental consent for abortion? And so here we see abortion, parental consent. If we click on that, okay, so you'll notice we have a lot of options here. This first article here is usually just kind of an overview of what the issues are, why people agree, disagree. Uh, so here there's 6 featured viewpoints. I would tell you this is usually a good place to start because one, there's only 6, 80's quite a few. We have statistics over here. Again, newspaper. I'm just trying to see if we have. I'm not really seeing any video on this, but there's magazines, which are fine, um, and there's some websites. So let's say we wanted to look at an article where it says, let's look at this one, parental consent laws are unnecessary. So we're going to click on that. Okay, so here's some things I want you to pay very, very close attention to. One, we have the article right here. Okay. Um, Now, there's things you can do with this article. One, you could, if you were somewhere else, you could email it to yourself. You can download it. You can print it. You can save it. If you wanted to, as you were reading it here, you could say, okay, well, this looks, I'm just going to pick some, here's some information that looks interesting. I'm going to highlight that. And then when I save it, then that highlight will be there and I can go through and find those things rather easily. So um, just to kind of give you an idea of what this is like. Now another tool, so what I want you to understand is it's easy to find the articles here. Everything's pretty compact, and this would be a really, really good site for you folks to use as you're developing this paper. One last thing I want to show you here is a thing called citation tools. And citation tools will help you write, you don't even have to write it actually, with your works cited page. These are those full MLA bibliographic citations. We'll go over those and you'll have a better understanding of what those are and what a works cited page is. So I can click on citation tools, and since we're using MLA documentation, here's the full MLA bibliographic citation. Now, you can use some of these tools if you would like. There's EasyBib, EndNotes, ProCite, Reference Manager. Let's just take a look at EasyBib for just a second here. Let's see what we get. Okay, so um, here's what it should look like for a full MLA bibliographic citation. One of the easy ways you can do this is you can save this for later. You can export it, or you could simply do this. You could copy it, you could highlight it, copy it, and then you could open up a Word document and just paste that into the Word document. And once you have that there, you don't really have to do anything except for arrange them in alphabetical order before you turn in your paper. So there's some really easy ways to do this, and you can play with this a little bit more. You can sign up for an account if you want with this, but this is a pretty nice tool. The other thing you can do is, if I can go backwards here, you could just copy it and paste it from the actual where we first hit the citation button, and then you can copy and paste that and move it. So just to kind of recap here, what I wanted to show you here is how to use opposing viewpoints in the TCL databases. The reason this is important, and I'm not allowing you to use Google or any search engine, I'm asking you to get your articles from the databases. You can kind of begin practicing this and playing with it just to kind of see if there's articles, see what the arguments are related to it, find information that you think would clearly articulate your audience's reasons and that would help you find reasons that you could use to show why those reasons aren't quite right. One other thing that I would remind you of is that there's three sources required for this project, so this is a good place to be once you decide on your topic. Or as another thing you can do is if you have several topics in mind, go in and kind of do a little preliminary. So that's the tutorial on opposing viewpoints. I will be also giving a quick tutorial on Academic Search Complete, which is a really huge database that you could also use for this project. So hopefully this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.